literally wore that bag to the ground. I'm sharing my experience with you so you don't waste your money. I know it's tempting to go after the trendier, make better investment decisions. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new, welcome back if you're not. If you are a lover of all things beauty, handbags, luxury, and fashion, you've come to the right place. My name is Cece and welcome. Today I'm going to be taking you through my top pieces of advice if I were to start my collection all over again. So for those of you looking to get into the designer luxury handbag realm, these tips and tricks are going to help you make the best investments and best choices that will help you along your journey. For those of you I haven't met, my name is Cece and I talk about handbags, fashion, beauty, and skincare. So if that appeals to you and you enjoy those types of topics, consider subscribing to my channel down below. And if you enjoy this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up as well and drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys thought. Drop a quick orange heart emoji to let me know that you enjoyed this video. All right, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. I do have some notes that I added to my phone, so I'm going to be referring to my notes while we go through bits of advice. I have recently started to venture into a more minimalistic wardrobe and minimalistic collection. I've started to size down my collection a bit, and I know that this is a trend going on with many luxury influencers and luxury YouTubers. I have my own personal reasons for doing it. One, I've gotten to a stage in my life where I really think less is more, and I don't feel the need to have an influx of items in my collection. There's always the risk of investing in items and it just sitting on your shelf collecting dust, not being worn. In essence, it becomes a waste of money. As a result, I've downsized my collection quite a bit and gotten rid of quite a few handbags this year. I also made the decision to venture on my Hermes journey, and as a result, I've started to kind of gear away from other brands and invest into Hermes handbags or top luxury designer handbags that I really feel have an ROI in terms of investment. Pieces that I know if I need to sell in 2, 3, 10 years, I know will hold their value and I'll be able to either make the money back or perhaps a profit. Unfortunately, there aren't many handbag brands that allow for that return on investment, so I am trying to be quite cautious and mindful and shop with intention before deciding to purchase an item. Chanel and Hermes tend to hold their value the most. Of course, it's going to be contingent upon which piece, what colorway, what variation, hardware, material, so on and so forth. Not every piece is created equal, and not every piece is considered a true classic that will retain its value and appreciate over time. We know the Chanel Classic Flap is definitely one of those. Obviously, the Hermes Birkin and Kelly is another great option as well. That doesn't mean that I'm only buying Chanel Classic Flaps or Hermes Birkins and Kellys. That is way beyond my budget. But if I am looking to make a high ticket item purchase and investment, those are the brands I'm going to seek out and lean on the most. That said, I do have 2 Birkins in my collection, my Birkin 30 and my shoulder Birkin, which I was recently offered this year. As a result of having those 2 items plus my Chanel Classic Flap, I've decided to downsize my collection a little bit, and I did let go of quite a few pieces that were unfortunately just sitting on my shelf collecting dust and I was not reaching for. So I want to urge you that if you are starting your collection, shop with intention. Your handbag collection should be somewhat of a capsule wardrobe and mirror your lifestyle. So think of pieces that are going to complement your everyday life. What are you more likely to reach for? Do you have children in your life? What's your lifestyle? Are you a corporate career woman working in the city and living that fast-paced 9-to-5 life? Do you need perhaps a work tote or a tote piece that can fit everything in the kitchen sink and you'll be able to bring with you from work to day, from weekdays to weekends, soccer games to the corporate office? I will just share my own personal experience. My very first designer handbag purchase was the Louis Vuitton Neverfull for obvious reasons. I was a corporate woman working in New York City. I was also a part-time student at the time and a single mom. So that tote was really a workhorse for me. The Neverfull became a perfect piece to add to my collection. I still have it. I still wear it as an occasional travel piece. It is an absolute workhorse. That doesn't mean that you are limited to just the Louis Vuitton Neverfull. I know the Louis Vuitton Neverfull has become so popular that you literally see it everywhere. And as a result, you may decide you don't want that bag. You want to invest in something that's a little bit harder to find or maybe not as common or perhaps not frequently seen. So you may want to consider the Goyard, although I know the Goyard has recently become very popular as well. I have 2 St. Louis Goyard totes, which are also wonderful, great great quality. They've held up very well. So those are another great option, but you can literally go for so many different totes, and I will include in the description box down below some tote options. That might be a good option if you're looking to incorporate something to that nature. Now, if you're working from home and you're not commuting or working a 9 to 5 corporate job, perhaps you don't have children or your weekends look a little bit different, then I think you have a little more variety and options available to you in terms of which handbag to start off your collection with. I still think a tote is great for anyone because you can also use it for travel. So depending on whether you're traveling a lot, a tote would be the perfect fit. But if it's not, you can consider something else that's going to complement your lifestyle. If you tend to be more hands-free, you want a crossbody option. If you tend to be on the petite side or you don't carry too many belongings with you, you just need space for cash cards and perhaps a lip gloss, then a smaller item, a mini bag would be perfect. So really think about your wardrobe, think about your everyday lifestyle, and figure out what bag is going to complement that lifestyle the most and be a value add more than anything else. So in my notes, I have a couple reference points. What story do I want my collection to tell? What styles actually fit my current lifestyle, work, travel, dinners, content shoots, and of course, starting with 1 to 2 timeless neutral staples. So think the Hermes Eveline, which is perfect, the Eveline TPM if you want something a little more on the petite side, or the Chanel Classic Flap before branching into statement pieces. Build a foundation that feels cohesive and elevated from day one. So once again, pieces that are going to complement your everyday life. Prioritize versatility over hype. It's really about prioritizing longevity over anything else. Think of a classic timeless staple like the Chanel Classic Flap, or perhaps a Birkin, or even a Speedy bandolier from Louis Vuitton. The Speedy for me was one of my first handbags. It was my first gifted designer item, and I wore that bag so much as well. It's perfect because it's versatile. You can wear it literally anywhere. It's a great travel piece. It's a great everyday piece. If you get the bandolier option, it does come with the crossbody strap, so you're able to wear it crossbody and be a little more hands-free. If you get the damier ebene, it's definitely durable, something you can wear in the rain. You don't have to worry about the vachetta leather or the patina over time. So those are items that you're going to reach for time and time again, and you don't have to worry about it phasing out or going out of style in a few years. Some other great options are the Hermes Garden Party, the Celine Triomphe, or the Saint Laurent Manhattan, quiet luxury appeal. So these are going to be perfect items that will transition from day to night effortlessly. They will look good across all seasons and can be styled with 80% of your wardrobe. So these are important things you want to look for. You don't want a summer or seasonal bag that you can't wear in the winter. You also want to look for a handbag that can be styled with the majority of your wardrobe. So when you look at your collection or you look at your closet, what's the majority of the style that you wear and the pieces that you reach for the most? Are they more sporty? Are you tending to dress a little more casual? Do you tend to reach more for jeans or sweatpants, things of that nature that can be styled with a Speedy bandolier perfectly, or a crossbody option to give it a more casual appeal? Or do you tend to dress a little more elevated? Do you tend to reach for more pants, khakis, dresses, skirts? And what are some options that would pair better with that? The Garden Party is a great option as well. It's quite versatile, and it is a fairly, take that with a grain of salt, fairly reasonable price range for Hermes. Now, it's still in the $3,000 mark, but you can look for several pre-loved options. So depending on what you're looking for, there are several pre-loved options you can find on Fashion File, The Real, and other consignment boutiques, Luxe and Lusso, Season to Consign, so many different options that you can save yourself hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Aiming for quality over quantity. This is something that I've recently started to incorporate into my collection, and really thinking about quality over quantity and being more mindful and intentional about which handbags I am letting go of or bringing into my collection. More recently, I've been thinking about the one bag in, one bag out rule. So for every handbag that I incorporate, I'm letting one go and it's replacing it, so that I'm not sitting here with 30 plus handbags that I'm not really rotating through as frequently. Starting fresh, aiming with fewer, better bags. Think of the 5-day philosophy. You have the everyday bag, the evening bag, the work travel tote, the crossbody or camera bag, and the statement piece. Now, this approach is going to help you focus on cost per wear and less likely to be focused on filler bags that are just going to be creating noise in your wardrobe and in your aesthetic. You don't want bags that are going to have this hype around it for 3 to 6 months and then it dies down and you're left with buyer's remorse or regretting the purchase. And then depending on which bag, if you do try to resell it, you end up losing money. Now, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars to get good craftsmanship. There's so many new handbag brands out there that have really, really amazing craftsmanship. There's also existing brands that have stood the test of time, like Coach. You can get such great items and such good quality from Coach at a very, very reasonable price range. Polen is another great option. There's Strathberry, Mulberry. Those are all great timeless handbag pieces as well. Options at every price range. Now that's going to be a perfect segue into my next recommendation, which is balance classic houses with new luxury. So you want a balance of Hermes, Chanel, those higher end Louis Vuitton classic fashion houses paired with the more newer ones like Polen or even Coach or Strathberry that are existing and have stood the test of time and have created a very reputable name and a reputation for themselves. So having a good mix of those bags will really diversify your collection and add some versatility. It's going to make sure that your collection feels intentional, fresh, and not formulaic. Plus, these newer brands often deliver exceptional quality under $1,000, which you cannot beat. I'll put a few of my recommendations down below for you in case you're interested, but there are some really wonderful options. Last and certainly not least, and I think it's really good advice for all of us, no matter where we are in building our handbag collection, is buying with long-term vision. When you buy, ask yourself, will I still love this in 5 years? Would I repurchase it if I lost it? Is it something I am going to reach for time and time again? Or is it just the honeymoon phase where there's all this hype around the bag and I absolutely love it and feel like I have to have it, but then in 6 months it dies down? These questions are going to help you filter out short-lived brands around trendy pieces. I always like to keep resale value in mind, of course, so for that reason I like to scour Fashion File and The RealReal to see what some of these bags, particularly if I'm thinking about investing in a bag, what they go for on the resale market to understand if I am going to get an ROI, what my ROI will be, and which bags hold the best value. Now, I've said it before, but for the most part, Bottega Veneta does not tend to hold its value on the pre-loved market. I have sold my Bottega Veneta Arco tote, which was purchased brand new from the department store, and unfortunately, I took a loss on it, probably about a 50% loss, as opposed to my Chanel Classic Flap Maxi, which I sold probably a year or two after buying it, and I was able to retain the same exact price that I paid for it because of the multiple price increases, because of the brand and the heritage, the fact that the Chanel Classic Flap is in such high demand. It held and retained its value, and I was able to get the same back that I bought it for. If I had held out longer, I probably could have made a profit. The last bonus tip I'm going to share with you is I think it's often nice to curate around emotional milestones. So think your first big job, your big promotion, your first trip to Italy or Paris, a gift to yourself for accomplishing something. I think those are special milestones to gift yourself or have a handbag gifted to you. It's something that's going to add some emotional relevance to the handbag and to the piece so that you'll always think of it a little bit fondly. So I tend to try and purchase items with certain milestones in mind. Think your 3-year YouTube anniversary, a birthday, an anniversary, even Christmas counts. So holidays can often come into play with this. So you can certainly receive or add an item to your wish list for a holiday, and then you'll always have that holiday as a reminder. I hope that you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button down below, and be sure to stop by and say hello. I'm going to leave 2 additional videos for you at the end. I hope you guys enjoy, and until next time, bye.